morning, everybody. How are we doing? Sammy, United People's TV. It's Tuesday, the 12th of November. Ruben Amorim arrived in Manchester yesterday. He went to Carrington straight away. We saw the photos with Omar Barada, with Dan Ashworth, with Jason Wilcox. We got the confirmation that I expected, that Ruud van Nistelrooy has left the club. So what I'm going to do today is run through everything that happened yesterday, all the videos, all the photos. We'll have a conversation around Amorim's arrival. Going to explain to you what is supposedly happened today, according to Sky Sports, with Amorim expected to talk to Darren Fletcher, the meetings at Carrington, and also we'll have a conversation about Ruud's departure. We'll speak about the players, and then Fabrizio has published a video, and he's suggesting that if there's one thing that Amorim has made clear to United's directors is that he wants players with intensity, which should come as no surprise to anybody. I'll run through all of that. And as always, you will send in your questions, your comments, and I will try to engage with as many of you as I possibly can. Should be a busy show. It's going to be a busy international break. It really, really will. Good morning to, have a look for the mod and the member gang. Josh, good morning to you, dude. Alex, you're there as well. Carl, I saw you, and T at the start of the show too. Aaron, John, we've got Shubi. We've got Fizz, Liam and Loza. Good morning to all of you. Terry, we've got James, Jonathan, Sue, and Andrew. And on Facebook, we've got Siraj. Good morning to you, dude. We've got Umar. We've got Ryan Neal. We've got Matt Frost. How you doing? Saying, I need that shirt. Where did you get it? Slide into my DMs. Actually, just email me, and I'll let you know. It's the easiest thing to do. There's too many DMs, because then you've got to check your DMs on Instagram, on Twitter, and then you've got to check 4 email addresses. It's a lot of places. But anyway, it's going to be a good show today, I think. I want to start with this, right? Because this, I can't see any lies being told there straight away. I'm agreeing with you on Jurgen Klopp. I'm also agreeing with you on Liverpool. David Coote. What a grass that person was that posted the video. What an idiot David Coote was for doing that in front of a camera. He was off his box in that video. A non-sober David Coote is what I would say. Do you think it's an over... I don't think it... If he was speaking about United and he was speaking about our manager, I would be pissed. But because he's not, it's actually quite funny. Well, yeah. David Coote, I'm sure you've seen the video. If you haven't seen the video, go and watch it yourself. But yeah, he's been suspended immediately by the Ref Association. But, as I said, I don't see any lies in that headline. Right? I mean, that's truth. The second part, that's truth. But yeah, he was absolutely... He was on cloud 9. Jordan, you're sending a super chat saying we need to welcome the new manager with the positive. Is I'm guessing what you're saying there. We'll speak about that soon. But a separate random point. I thought this was cool. Chris Casper, who was, of course, if I remember correctly, part of the class of '92. He's been, I think, at Salford for 8 years. And he's now just been appointed as the new academy boss at Burnley, which is just cool. I don't know. So it's a random little point and a segue, linking back to Manchester United. If I'd love to do a video at some point. The amount of research you need to do this would be insane. But one thing that people don't seem to understand, maybe they do, maybe they don't. I don't know. The influence of United's academy goes way beyond just... I'm not really using Chris Casper as an example. That's from the 90s, and he's been in Salford for 8 years. I'm more talking about the players that don't quite make it at Manchester United. You'll be amazed how many former United Academy players are sort of spread around the different football leagues. And how many players in the Championship have got links back to United in League One and League Two. There are so many. It really is the most influential academy in England. Right? Just a little random point. I thought that might be a cool video at some point. Yesterday, Bruno was back in Portugal picking up an award. I was trying to read about what these awards were. Any Portuguese football fans in the comments? What exactly are they? By the looks of it, it kind of feels like it might just be like an annual award ceremony that just hands out prizes to Portuguese footballers and Portuguese managers who have done something in the past year. Ruben Amorim got an award. Obviously, he's a little bit busy. But Bruno got one and Bernardo Silva got one. And I think theirs was to do with being academy graduates from the Portuguese league. I don't really know. Anyway, Bruno got himself a little cheeky award. Very nice. Oh, Potato, how you doing, buddy? You're gifting 5 memberships this morning. That's all 5 for Amorim. I'm going to be updating these. I promise you I'm updating these. Let's see if Casemiro's here this morning. It's been a while since I pressed that button. Is he still here?
Good morning. Good morning.
He's still there.
Good morning. Hello.
Mark, good morning to you. Saying you normally work nights. You're always asleep. You're not this morning. Good morning to you. Yeah, I don't know whether it's some sort of local award ceremony. I've no idea. Sheikh saying, is Bruno the best signing post Fergie? Yes, it's not even close. It really is not even close. Put it in the comments now. Who do you think gets anywhere near Bruno Fernandes as the best? If you were to do your top 2, I think Zlatan was one that just worked out. I think that's someone I hold in like high regard. Who else do you get anywhere near Bruno Fernandes? I don't think there's any, if I'm being totally honest. And I'll be honest as well at the same time. That's also an indictment of how crap we've actually been in the transfer market. For the fact that nobody really gets anywhere near Bruno. Garlic Red Man, you gifted 5 memberships as well. Everyone's feeling chirpy this morning. Let's get into the main part of the show. All right. Josh, you're saying Bruno then Zlatan. Ahmed, you're saying Bruno first, then Pogba second. Johnny Evans, someone's saying down there. Mazraoui. Hey, look, Mazraoui may be in this conversation. Not right now. Let's calm your boots. Martinez, incredible first season. Second season, blighted by injury. I worry about Martinez in this new back three. I'll be honest. I think that he can thrive in possession, but out of possession, I'd question it. Right. Let's move on and let's speak about Ruud's departure first. I did my little reaction video yesterday. So a short video. It's just kind of my opinion. Now, you know that we spoke about it a few times on the show, and I said my instinct is that Ruben Amorim, he won't boot Ruud van Nistelrooy out the door. It'll be an amicable departure. It'll be a thank you for what you've done, a handshake. But because of what I've done in the last 4 years and the reason that Manchester United have brought me in, I want to bring my coaching staff with me. And I already covered who they were in the video I did yesterday. That's Carlos Fernandes. He's brought in 3 assistant managers, a sports scientist, and a goalkeeping coach. Now, we don't know exactly what those roles will be. Now, Sky Sports are reporting this morning that we will find out once the visa is completed. Once that's done and dusted, then we'll find out exactly what roles they're in. I can't imagine that all 3 are going to come in and be assistant managers, or maybe they are just all going to be labelled assistant managers. Maybe they go down as first team coaches. I don't know that. Jonathan, I agree with you down there, by the way. You're saying I think that Ruud knew that. And I think that's why Ruud said goodbye. You saw it in the centre circle, hugging every play. It kind of looked like the end of sometimes, well, not sometimes. At the end of the season, you get that game where everyone's hugging, everyone's like walking around, giving the lap of honour. It wasn't really a lap of honour, but it kind of half was. It was just a walk to the Stretford end, soak it up, remember that feeling, and then say goodbye to the Stretford end. And that's what Ruud said about it. He said, look, it was a beautiful moment to come back to the club, and I've started working and then doing the 4 games all at home, getting some good results and some good goals to close it down with this. It's special. My dad was there. My son was there. So it was a fantastic moment and a great memory for him. And Ruud did us proud, man. Given that the morale was just bottoming out after that West Ham game. It certainly was for me. I'm only speaking about my own perspective there, but I was like, I didn't know where to turn anymore. I was like, we can't rely on the players. You can't rely on a bit of luck. The tactics aren't working. The manager's not changing things. He goes, well, I don't really see how things change. Of course, a few days later, we played Leicester and we won 5-2, which is, of course, you get that with the new manager bounce. Rob, you're saying, do you think he will return at some point as head coach? I'd love to think that he would. I think this journey at Manchester United will add a lot to Ruud van Nistelrooy's CV. Now, you might say that's a bit of a strange thing to say because What, he was assistant manager under a manager who massively failed. Oh, yeah, brilliant, Sam. Yeah, that's really going to help his CV. But he's now been inside a club like Manchester United, and the scale was just, he would have learned a lot. Maybe if the CV doesn't get improved, I think a lot of personal development has happened, because you learn from things that go wrong in life just as much as you learn from the successes, which might be a bit of a boring cliche to say, but it's completely true. And then when he was in charge, he had 4 games. He won 3 of them. He drew 1. He scored 11 goals. He did everything that he could and needed to do, right? As you're saying, Ruud steadied the ship quickly. What a legend, says Garlic Bread Man. He did a fantastic job. Yeah, bald is out and beard is in. I saw alternative MUFC saying that as well. If I could grow a beard, I would. Nothing. I actually had to shave this morning. Jeez. Jonathan is saying, Ruud is more capable of being a good manager than part of the coaching staff at United. Ruben is not wasting his talent as a manager. It felt like the obvious thing to do. And Ruben Amorim clearly, I think I said this quite a few times. I'll say it one more time. I think the only way that Ruud stayed was if Ruben saw value in having Van Nistelrooy there as a connector between him and the players and him and the club and him and the city and him and the culture, and maybe making that transition easier. But at the same time, and this is going to be something that we should probably find out more on quite soon, Darren Fletcher is remaining at the club. Now, this comment down here, Jesus, how does he keep surviving? It reeks of somebody that really doesn't understand what Darren Fletcher's role at Manchester United actually is. Darren Fletcher is, I think he's been pushed up a little bit in the Van Nistelrooy coaching setup because, of course, Ten Hag left. But Darren Fletcher is, right now, as far as I know, is a first-team coach. And also, he's that connector between the first team and the academy. And I think he does that very well. And I think that's a really important hybrid role that's needed. And in the very same way that when Erik Ten Hag came in, that pre-season, I believe it was Darren Fletcher who he leaned on for advice on saying, right, okay, which youngsters in the academy do you think stand out to the point that they should come on the pre-season tour? And he said Charlie Savage. He said Zidane Iqbal. Ruben Amorim will be leaning on Darren Fletcher for, okay, how are these academy players? I'm hoping that we get to see Ruben Amorim at the under-21s game tonight against Huddersfield. EFL Trophy, I think it'll be a good opportunity for him to see some of the youngsters. Maybe he gets to watch Chido Obi-Martin in action, or Sekou Kone, or Finley McAllister, or any of the other ones who have moved up into the under-21s environment. Someone on Facebook saying, what is Fletcher still doing here? It's bizarre. I don't think it is bizarre. I think Fletcher has been there for a good few years now, and the academy, as much as our football club, right, has been atrociously run for a good amount of years, our academy has been the opposite. And those involved with the academy have done a very good job. I think I've been saying this for quite a while on this channel. I'd love the opportunity to sit down and have a chat with Nick Cox, who is United's director of academy. And I might be getting somewhere with that. All right. So it's something to watch out for on this channel. It's something I've been working hard on for a long, long time. I'd love to work. I understand why United is so hesitant to work with any. I hate using the word fan channels because fan channels have, in my opinion, Arsenal Fan TV of old is a fan channel where you put a mic in front of someone's face after a game and you do a fan cam. That's not what I do here on United People's TV. We're just like an independent Manchester United community. That's the way I would describe it. So I think there's a lot that we could offer United in terms of access to the community, but also the way that we do it here. Yeah, I'm proud of what we do here. So fingers crossed I can get that sorted with Nick Cox. Let me see what you're saying down here. Jonathan's saying Fletcher's got a specific role and does it well. You're seeing with the players before kickoff in the warm-up like Phelan used to do. Yeah, maybe. And you're saying people need to understand Fletcher works for Ineos. He's not a part of the coaching staff per se. Well, I mean, we'll find out what that is. But Ruud van Nistelrooy is not going to be part of it. And neither is René Hake. Temruela, who's the goalkeeping coach, of course, he's leaving because Jorge Vital's coming from Sporting with Ruben Amorim. So he's going to be taking over there. But Ruud's not part of it. I think this is the correct move. I think it's a move, like a few of you said in the comments there. I think it's a move that Ruud expected. Hence why he managed to say goodbye and get that final game. And what a lovely game to sign off on, by the way. 3-0 at Old Trafford. 2 cracking goals, Bruno and Garnacho. A third one, a clean sheet. Probably the most comfortable home Premier League win that Manchester United have had, certainly this season. And I don't know how long it's been. I said this in my match reaction. I have no idea how long it's been since we controlled genuinely and looked comfortable at 2-0 in the way that we were. Right? Simon is saying Fletcher knows the club inside out. It's great to have the link to the academy. And of course, Fletcher's got his 2 boys there, Jack and Tyler. So he's got a bigger connection and a bigger reason and a bigger driver to be successful and to commit everything to that role. And it probably does make a little bit of a difference. But Darren Fletcher's remaining. And yeah, if Ruben Amorim does need that link back to the club, then you go and speak to Fletcher. Right? What are you saying down there? Question. Ruud and the rest should get their contracts paid out too? I presume so, Lyle. I mean, that's how contracts work. You heard Ruud say quite a few times, I've got a 2-year contract as an assistant manager and I intend to see it out. So if Erik ten Hag gets a payoff, I imagine the coaching staff get payoffs as well, but I don't know how their contracts are. I don't know the wording of it. Right? You'd think so, though. Right, let's move on. So, I mean, this is what football is, man. Football is, at its core, extremely cutthroat. Because we're talking about one manager leaving and another manager coming in with a police escort from the airport, like a rock star. But this is how football works. And this is why we've needed a football structure, because it's kind of hard not to get swept away in the emotional roller coaster of a football club. And certainly with United, man, we have just been so up and down. It's crazy. We're like a yo-yo. But Ruben has arrived. Kint down there, you're calling it a fresh start. Yeah, it is a fresh start. Again, I don't personally feel, and again, this is just an opinion. You might not agree with it. I don't feel that Manchester United are anywhere near as chaotic in terms of context and circumstances compared to when Erik ten Hag took over. Erik ten Hag took over after Solskjaer got sacked. Rangnick came in, was interim until the end of the season, and it was awful. It was woeful. Player power was rife. Were the talks of the takeover happening then? I can't remember, actually. And the circumstances were bad. It feels like Ruben Amorim is coming into a different club in that environment. Someone down there, mainly you're saying Ineos have got their guy. Yeah, Ineos have got their guy. And he's arrived, right? And he seems happy about it. Let's have a quick look at this video. I don't know whether United are going to shut me down for copyright for this. I hope not. This is Ruben arriving yesterday. I think he mentions the weather straight away. I won't play the sound because he's got some music on and I might get shut down for that. That's Omar Barada. That's Dan Ashworth, of course, meeting Ruben outside Carrington. That's Jason Wilcox too. And that's United's new football structure. And then I'll just go a little bit. I can go smaller screen now. And the next 30 seconds, it's just all about, yesterday was all about Ruben Amorim going to Carrington and meeting the staff, right? Walking through, meeting the chefs, meeting the people who work behind the scenes at Carrington, meeting the football structure. As much as Ruben isn't allowed to, he's not allowed to put a tracksuit on and go on the training pitch and tell everyone how to line up in a 3-4-3 shape, all right? He can't do that until he's got his visa. What he can do is meetings galore. And that's something that has been said by Sky Sports this morning, which I'll run through now. But yeah, that right there is kind of the epitome of what I mean when I say that Ruben has come into a different environment. That's our first ever CEO there. That's our first ever technical director there. That's our first ever sporting director there. And that's our first ever head coach on paper. That's all brand new. Everything that you're looking at there is brand new this season for Manchester United. And we need something new. We absolutely do. And I dread to think, honestly do, I dread to think how much time and energy and conversations we've had about administrative positions at Manchester United, about the need for a CEO, about the need for a sporting director, and everything that happened in between there, and all that. It was pretty exhausting, but it was just, these are the basic requirements of a club of Manchester United's size and stature, and it was just never there. It was just never there. Now, Erik ten Hag got it, but ultimately not quick enough. And he had to deal with everything that came before it, but then he didn't do anywhere near enough on a personal level in the third season. The development was just not there, and a lot of that fell on Erik ten Hag, and rightly so, and that's why he got the sack. But that's an exciting photo. Like, Ruben's just walking into a Carrington, which is, well, there's a £50 million development going on at Carrington right now. He's got his office now next to probably, with the, I don't know how far I'm going to do a video on it, obviously, when more comes out, but we don't know how far the Carrington developments have gone so far. It's going to take all season, but they're redesigning the whole top floor so that there's going to be a lot of glass. There's going to be offices next to each other. It's going to be a lot more of an integrated working space, if you want to call it that. I'm excited about this. And then these first couple of days now, because we don't actually know how long it's going to take for Ruben Amorim's working visa to come in. You can thank Brexit for how long this takes. But yesterday was about speaking to Ruud, meeting Barada, Ashworth, Wilcox, getting the initial conversations out of the way. Today will be more about meetings, more about maybe meeting Darren Fletcher. Okay, Sky Sports are reporting that it is expected to take a couple more days for the visa to go through. And once that goes through, we'll probably get maybe another announcement for United. Maybe the first interview will come out with Ruben Amorim, which of course we'll cover on this channel. And we should get an announcement on the coaching staff as well. Now, Nuruddin, my man, let me read your super chat out there before I want to say something else about you, you legend. You're saying it's now all Ineos, or rather, what are you saying? It's now all Ineos, or rather the United board, as they should be called, to support the manager and the team to the absolute best. And that last three words you've said there, no more excuses, man. Hands in the air. I can only speak for I'm not going to be speaking about how, we've not had a football structure in place. But Omar Barada didn't start until July. But, Dan Ashworth didn't start until July. But, none of that matters anymore. This is all in place now. Omar Barada's been settled for a few months. Ashworth's been settled for a few months. Wilcox is in. Everything is in. The football structure is in. The game model is now in. You've got your man. I wouldn't say there's no more mitigating factors, but everything that we've wanted is right there. And if we can't make that, I've got to say this, right? If we can't make this work, and I'm not saying that we've got next season all of a sudden be competing for the Premier League, but if bringing all of this in and Amorim in, and we still can't get progress as a football club, I got no idea what way I'm going to be turning after that. I've got no idea. I'm not saying that this is like the last Hail Mary, because that's the wrong way to describe it. But I will almost have run out of places I can point where saying, well, if this sort of tweaks or changes, then things will be better. This project has to be the one that really brings United back out of the shadows. And you're saying the journey properly starts in August. Well, I'm not going to write off the next 7 or 8 months. The next 7 or 8 months, we know what... I mean, we already spoke about it, okay? I think a lot of people are saying the expectations are that United get into the top 4 now. I mean, you wouldn't have said that a few weeks ago. The opportunity is absolutely there to get into the top 4. But for me, the measure of what my expectations are this season have got nothing to do with trophies, nothing to do with where United finish. It's making sure that between now and May, just bit by bit, it looks better, and it looks better than it was the game before. And that we can see people want that identity. And I think that's going to be quite important. That's what I think. How long will it take for Amorim to get the squad ready? Quite a lot. Now, can I go back up here and say to the main man himself, to Nuruddin, who is the legend of the channel. I don't actually know what's going to happen when I press this button. I'm going to press it anyway. He's gifted 50 memberships, and I haven't done this little animation in a while. Does it still work? I've got no idea what's about to happen. Will anything happen? I've no idea. Let's find out. I forgot I did that. And I've also just remembered that United made a claim on that last time. So this video is going to get... this video is going to get a copyright claim on it now. That's probably why I didn't press that button. I think I can cut it out anyway. That was a little Danny Welbeck. With, of course, Ruud van Nistelrooy as a player, as a coach. That's quite sad, actually. But big up to Nuruddin, man, for gifting 50. And Alex, I saw you gifted 5 as well. Everyone's getting involved. Yeah, mate, Welbeck is having an absolute stormer of a season. That's why I had him down. I think people laughed at it. I was saying United could do a lot worse. And this isn't Captain Hindsight speaking, because I said it in the summer. United could do a lot worse than trying to bring Danny Welbeck in on a 1-year contract. He's having a great season. Physically looks very, very strong. But Ruben has arrived, okay? And he's got a full 2 weeks now. Right? He's got a full 2 weeks to settle into his new surroundings. Of course, the players are away on international duty. The players that are at Carrington now, so this is... So Ruben's already arrived at Carrington this morning, okay? He's going to be meeting with Darren Fletcher. The players who are at Carrington currently are those who are injured. So I imagine Harry Maguire will be there. Tyrell Malacia will be there. Who else? Luke Shaw will be there. Lenny Yoro will be there. Kobbie Mainoo should be there. So there's going to be a few that Amorim will get the opportunity to meet today. So you might get some photos out with those players. But it's more the admin side of things rather than anything to do with the players or anything to do with the football. That's what these first few days are. Because he doesn't have that work permit. Not having a work permit doesn't stop you from having meetings, all right? Because I think a few people were confused as to, well, if he can't work, then what's he actually going to do? But there's a lot that he can actually do behind the scenes. Mason Mount, is he injured still? I don't know. Mason Mount's injured. Yeah, Toby Collier, we'll meet him as well. I wish more United players would just pull out of international duty on a regular basis. I got excited about that last time. Casemiro? Casemiro's not really getting called up to the Brazil squad anymore, is he? And Marcus Rashford, I don't think he got a call up to England either. So, let's find out. Joe saying, how is he here without a work permit? I've just explained that. A work permit doesn't stop you from having your physical presence at the training ground. A work permit stops you from working on the actual job. So he can't be the head coach. He can't go down and train on the pitches. He can't instruct as a head coach. He can sit there and have a conversation with Omar Barada and Dan Ashworth. You can have meetings, right? So it's more the admin side of things for the first few days. Do we have a list of players who left for international duty? I don't have it off the top of my head. Did United... Let's see if United release one. Sometimes they do. There you go. Let's have a look. Right. Thank you very much, United. You've done this job, so I don't have to. Like Mr. Muscle. Right. Onana, he plays for Cameroon on Wednesday against Namibia. He will do. Martinez and Garnacho, who are Argentina playing. Paraguay and then Peru. You've got Eriksson and Rasmus Højlund have gone with Denmark. Dalot and Fernandes have gone with Portugal. De Ligt and Xerxes have gone with the Netherlands. Bayindir's gone with Turkey. Lindelof gone with Sweden. And James Scanlon banging them in for Gibraltar. Ugate's playing Colombia and Brazil. Ooh, that's a tasty couple of games. Mazraoui has gone back on international duty with Morocco. Remember, he pulled out the last one. And Ahmad, who are they playing? Don't know. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 Reds, I think. I think I counted that correctly. 15 United players who are out on international duty this week and who won't be able to meet Ruben Amorim. So Ugarte will probably be the last one back because, well, the South American players always come back the latest, right? So I think there's 15. Hafiz saying Amorim's on a tourist visa for now. Well, you don't need a visa to come and visit England from Portugal. You need a visa to work there, but you can just go and have a little cheeky holiday. Imagine that's what it is. I don't know. I have no idea what it is right now. Either way, Brexit means Brexit. We've got our borders back. Woo! But that's the reason why he currently can't coach. Nor do I think even if he had his working visa, I don't think you'd see Ruben Amorim on the training pitches in the first few days anyway. The first few days are about settling in, meetings, all the boring stuff. The football will come a little bit later in the week. Anyway, you've seen a few players speaking about Amorim's arrival, and I want to quickly touch on these. This is what De Ligt said. He goes, it's going to be that's going to be the biggest challenge for the trainers or the coaches to get everyone on the same wavelength and the same page to improve as a team and improve as players. And this is something that Ten Hag was never really able to do past the first season. Past the League Cup final, really. Man, I got so. That's the we've had full storms, right? The full storm feeling I got after that League Cup final, man. How United played in the 6-7-ish weeks before that, between the World Cup ending in December and United coming back and beating City and the Barcelona games home and away, and just how United played in those games. I was convinced that this actually feels like more than just a false dawn. I remember at the time. No, I was wrong. It was a false dawn. Because after the League Cup final, the energy kind of went out a little bit. And we never got it back. And Joe, you're saying, why will Amorim be different? And that's going to be down to Ruben Amorim. Actually, no, that's a lie. It's 50-50. Like, you can want somebody to do something. You know, the saying was that you can take a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Ruben Amorim can want these players to all get on the same wavelength and all get on the same page and all to play with intensity. But if the players don't want to do it, well, they're not going to do it. And then you get rid of those players and then you bring in players that do want to do it. And that's how you build the squad. So there has to be buy-in from the players completely. But where Amorim has to succeed, where I think Ten Hag ultimately failed, has to be in, and this is, I can only assume this right now, and maybe we'll find out in the goodness of time from Ten Hag, from the players themselves, but it just seemed like Ten Hag was unable to convey and communicate his ideas simply enough that the players could be on the same wavelength and the same page. And I think I spoke about it before, like, I understood Erik Ten Hag's build-up play and the logic behind it, but it was really quite confusing because sometimes you had a left-back in central midfield and sometimes you had a centre-back up in the attack. Just all the players' positions were so rogue and different at any one point that you had to remember like three or four. If I was a player, you'd have to remember 3 or 4 things at once all the time whilst trying to get the ball. And it's kind of like overloaded with information. I think Amorim's system will simplify that. It's 3 at the back. Can be 5 at the back if the wing-backs drop deep. Simple. This is how we build up. This is how we are in possession, out of possession. He's going to have to get those ideas across. And Hafiz, it will be a make or break on a 3-4-3, right? on paper, it might sound like a massive, like, oh my God, Man United playing a 3 at the back system. It's crazy. And by the way, working on a new video that's coming out maybe around about Thursday. And it's cool. It's a real level. It's going to be my sort of tactical video on Ruben Amorim. And you'll see it is levels above what we've done so far. As I keep saying to Nuruddin, big up to you, to everybody who keeps investing in me and United People's TV. I'm putting it back into the channel. We're getting new editors, even better editors that can take the content upwards. And we keep going up together until we're the absolute best. That's the ambition. That's the intention. And I really like to think that we've kind of delivered that over the last 6 to 12 months. And we're only just getting started, because when United are actually good, it'll be much more fun, the content that we can do. Let me see what you're saying down here. De Ligt has gone under the radar a bit, says Kang. I think great defenders can do that. Just, they're very good at their jobs. So you don't really end up speaking about them too much, because they're just doing it week in, week out. Now, De Ligt, I think, is slowly warmed up, but I think he's improving it. I think he's improving and getting better, and so is Ugarte, and so will all these players. De Ligt will suit. He knows how to play in the back 3 system. He's played at it with... He was kind of left out of the Netherlands system by Ronald Koeman, I think, in favour of, what is it? Stefan de Vrij. Or I like to call him Stuff in the Fridge. I don't know why he did that. I think he had Van Dijk. I just didn't like that. But I think De Ligt played in a back 3 system at Juventus as well. I think he'll be good as that central centre-back. Not one of the 2 outside centre-backs, but one of the central one. Euro, De Ligt and Martinez on paper, you can see that's easily the best back 3 that we have. Giggity saying nobody heard Carrick's name in a game. I definitely think I could do a video on that. Of all the midfielders that Manchester United have had in the modern era that I've watched, I think I would put Michael Carrick as the one that was underappreciated the most. Like, everybody knew how good Paul Scholes was. Everybody knew how good Roy Keane was. But especially constantly overlooked by England, because it was the Lampard and Gerrard time. But Carrick was just so damn good at what he did, and for such a long period of time. But he never really got the credit that I think he deserved. I think he's probably the most underappreciated midfielder that Manchester United have had. Certainly one of, anyway. Now, Casemiro's been speaking about Amorim as well, saying that he's a winner. Everyone speaks highly of him. He's saying that the group is ready. Well, let's find out. These players are going to have to deliver. Really deliver. Prince, you're saying that Park was an underrated player. I don't think Park was underrated. I think Park was absolutely loved by United fans. I'm not saying that Carrick wasn't loved by United fans, but he was certainly overlooked. What are you saying down here in the comments? Koeman's one of the worst managers I've ever seen. Yeah, it is Koeman being Koeman. Amorim's made it clear he wants players with more intensity. I'm going to be speaking about that next. Conte playing 4-3-3 at Napoli now has dropped his own 3 at the back. Well, it's certainly working with McTominay. He got another goal, didn't they? Are they still top? I think the Serie A right now, if I remember correctly, there's like... There's only a few points between like 1st and 6th. You've got like Juve, Napoli, Milan, Lazio, Atalanta, and one more team in that top 6. And they're all really... It's actually quite an exciting league. John O'Shea was underrated. G, I love G. And you're saying Herrera was underappreciated by the club. Well, that was... The Herrera situation was, in my opinion, was a direct consequence of that absolute abomination of a contract we gave to Alexis Sanchez. That meant other players wanted more money, and that's what Herrera asked for, and he didn't get it, and he left, and he went to PSG, which didn't sit well with a lot of United fans. I would have loved him to stay. He's one of those players that definitely left too early, in my opinion. I think... Who else would I put? Who else would you put in that category? Little 1-minute segue. Players that we've sold that you didn't really want us to sell, or felt like we probably sold them a little bit too early. I think Javier Hernandez, Van Gaal, I think, got rid of him too early. Rafael got rid of him too early as well. Danny Welbeck? Nah, I don't really think that. I'd say that at the time. I understood that one. But yeah. Who else do you think? Fred, someone saying down there in the comments. Well, Fred, I think, would have worked in the system that Erik ten Hag actually ended up going for. Diego Forlan. Yep, Stam. Jeez. I think Stam was still the best centre-back in the world the next season. Was it Lazio he went to? I can't remember. Smalling, someone saying down there. Johnny Evans. The reason Johnny Evans left, you know why. Oh, no, I'm thinking about Gerard Piqué, actually. Yeah, maybe Johnny Evans you can put into it. Mkhitaryan. I don't think Mkhitaryan comes on that list. Does he? Is that the worst ever swap deal that's ever existed? Alexis Sanchez to Arsenal? To United from Arsenal, Mkhitaryan to Arsenal? I don't know. Yeah. There's quite a few names down there. Anyway, let's move on to someone saying Tevez as well. Tevez. Oh, man. Do you remember those few years? That's when I genuinely hated City. I'm a bit numb to them. Everything they've done has got an asterisk next to it. But that few years from like, when was it? 2009, 10? Probably like 2009, 10 to 2011, 12. That's when we kept drawing them in the bloody League Cup. We had that double header, that Rooney, that period where Tevez went across to them. Who was in charge of them? Was it Pellegrini? I can't remember. Was it Mancini? That's when they had Balotelli. Yeah, that's when I hated City at that point in time. Because you could see what they were trying and starting to do. It was a good rivalry in those few years. And Tevez, yeah. Well, we should have given Tevez a contract earlier. We didn't. He left. He went City. Screw him. He's a rat. Anyway. Let's move on to this next point. I want to just quickly show you a clip from Fabrizio. And this is him speaking about what players Amorim wants at the club.
From what I'm hearing, the first indication from Ruben Amorim to Manchester United directors, to Manchester United management is we need to bring players with intensity.
That's it. That's the clip. And we know that is the case. All right. So if we're hearing from Casemiro that's saying there's an exceptional group here who want to help, who want to keep growing, who want to learn, and yeah, I'll believe that when I see it, if I'm being completely honest. Just even the games under Ruud, let's be totally honest. I don't think I'd look at any of them and go, wow, that was a real intense performance from United. If any, I would say the first half against Leicester, but still it wasn't. United should be able to put their foot on the neck of oppositions and just terrify them. Squeeze mistakes out of them. It is the buzzword right now. It's going to be this intensity, but I would argue that the buzzword existed under Erik ten Hag. You remember when, actually I'll ask you now, when Erik ten Hag first came in, what do you remember most from the pre-season videos that were coming out? In like the initial 1 or 2 weeks. Because there was a real theme that happened right at the start with Erik ten Hag. I don't think there'll be... I don't think there's as much need for it now, but yeah, well, I'll be honest, there still is quite a lot of need. Danny's saying that Ugarte performed with intensity in the last few games. Welbeck being underappreciated down there in the comments. I remember being devastated when Cantona retired. Now we are going back. Josh, you're saying it was awful rondos. Kang, you're saying it's high intensity. I remember it. At the beginning, the massive focus for Erik ten Hag was fitness. You remember all those double sessions that the players were doing? There was photos of Maguire and Sancho looking absolutely walloped. Players out on their backs. The beginning for Erik ten Hag in the first season was he came in and he goes, well, my word, your fitness levels are crap. And if you do not have the fitness levels, you cannot play with intensity across the course of a 90-minute game. You physically can't do it. And that's why a lot of these players still, I'd question whether they can do it over a 90-minute period. And Amorim's system is going to be intense. So it's not a case of maybe, maybe not. To go back to what Ralph Rangnick said previously, you can't be a little bit pregnant. You're either pregnant or you're not. and you can't do a little bit of pressing. You either press or you don't. That intensity is going to be the revolving theme, and that's going to be any signing that we look at. That's probably going to be the core of it, because I think the athletic floor of this United team is still, in my opinion, nowhere near where it needs to be to compete in this version of the Premier League. You have to be physically, like, I don't know what word to use, robust, because you can't just have endurance. You can't just be able to run around for 90 minutes. That's not enough. You actually physically have to be able to handle yourself, because it is a strong league now. City made that switch a few years ago and they ended up signing all the bloody Space Jam villains. And then they got Rodri, and then they got Haaland, and then they've just got a huge team. And then Arsenal have got how many bloody centre-backs? I have no idea. But their defence is all about centre-backs, and it's all about keeping clean sheets. The two teams at the very top have adopted a very physical approach. Now, Liverpool are kind of doing it somewhat differently, but still the athletic floor of Liverpool, City and Arsenal is still way above where United's is. And you can't build success unless you've got that. Kang is saying that Amorim won't take any more shithousery from the players, and he won't. And the good thing is now he's got Barada, he's got Ashworth, he's got Wilcox, who will all share that same game model and that same concept. We're not going to be signing players just for Ruben Amorim anymore. And I don't personally think that we sign players in the summer just for Erik ten Hag. They would have been ridiculously naive to spend 200 million on a manager that they were considering sacking 2 months ago and not thinking, well, what if he leaves? Will these signings still work? Well, Ugarte does. And maybe the cynic of you might think, well, United probably had this in the back of their mind the whole time. Well, that's called contingency planning. If United the whole time under Erik ten Hag knew that Ruben Amorim's release clause was going to be less, and if it doesn't work out with Erik ten Hag, we'll give it until around about November to see that development and that progress. If it's not there, then we're going to move for Amorim. And we know full well that Ugarte would work in that system. We know full well that De Ligt would work in that system. Erik ten Hag didn't even want Ugarte. He wanted to keep McTominay. Lenny Yoro would work perfectly in that system. And I saw Jamie Carragher trying to speak about that, saying, "Oh, United have what a abysmally run football club. Ineos have wasted 200 million on another manager and then sacked him a few months later." I'd argue, pretty much does every signing this summer fit inside this squad? Who did we sign this summer? Mazraoui fits, De Ligt fits, Yoro fits, Ugarte fits. Xerxes is probably the one I would say I'd have questions about the most, simply because of how slow he's looked. I'm talking about the intensity and the physical nature. Like, Xerxes got the frame for it and the build for it. It's just not working. It feels like the signings we made this summer weren't for Erik ten Hag per se. They were for the football club. And it means that Amorim coming in, it's not about, oh, wow, we've got to get rid of 90% of this squad. We need to start all over again. No. I think a lot of those players actually still work. And any signings moving forward will be built around principles of that intensity, of everything like that. But it won't be signed specifically just to suit a Ruben Amorim system. And it means that after Ruben Amorim leaves in 5, 6, 7 years, after he's won the Premier League 3 times, lovely jubbly, then whoever follows him will follow that same game model. And the squad should be built towards that. And this should be the beginning now of the modern version of Manchester United, built around these principles that will transfer between managers. Even if the styles change, those fundamentals and characteristics should carry through. That's how you build a squad. Easy, right? Not really. Let's be honest. Because United have ballsed it up so much over the years. Right. What are we saying down there? Mark Critchie from The Athletic is saying no face-to-face talks with Amorim and Ruud, actually. I didn't know. So, that didn't actually happen yesterday. Andreas Georgeson is probably going to be staying at the club as well. as a set-piece coach, and Darren Fletcher. We're going to get more information on that. Let me see who's saying down here in the comments. Xerxes will definitely be reborn. Xerxes could fit, but not as a number 9. I think I agree. I'm not writing Xerxes off, man, in any way, shape or form. He's had a very slow and poor start, but South Manchester United, I think, has been reflective of that. He needs to improve in himself, but I think he has to be used correctly. And I think that kind of goes with a lot of these players. Ugarte looks better when he's actually being used in the right way. I mean, my mind is blown. Casemiro looks like a better midfielder when you're not asking him to run 40 yards to cover a fullback. My mind is blown. There's some very basic things, and that's something that Ten Hag definitely got wrong towards the end, is he just wasn't using players in the way that those players should be used. And he goes, why are you asking him to do something that he's not particularly good at? Of course, he's going to look a bit exposed doing it. I think Xerxes, just don't use him as a number 9. He's not a number 9. Use him as one of the attacking midfielders behind the striker. That's fine. But don't have him as the isolated number 9 up front. He doesn't know how to do it. It's not a role that's natural to him. Højlund up front and Xerxes and Bruno behind him, that can work. Højlund up front and Bruno and Ahmad behind him, that can work. There's a lot of options inside this squad now. Just don't play him as the up front number 9. And yeah, using Ahmad on the right wing, using Ahmad in the right way, all of a sudden, great. Actually would work. I completely disagree with that comment. That's an outrageous shout. Kagotso, Xerxes is a better number 9 than Højlund. Well, everyone else can let me know. You can let me know what you think about that in the comments, but wow, that is an incorrect. I know opinions can't be incorrect, but that one is. Kalexi saying, I've seen this movie of a new manager before. We all have, man. And that's why I said there, this has to be where United get it right. I'm not saying about us winning the league within 1 year, 2. I'm just saying that the progress has to be there. For me, success between now and the rest of the season is United. At no point between now and May are United the crisis club again. All right? Talk about how Arsenal go down. Talk about Spurs being crap. Don't care. Just don't talk about United. I'd rather everybody gets bored of talking about United for the rest of this season, because all of a sudden it's starting to gain momentum in the right direction. It's slow but it's continuous. It's not 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, 9 steps forward, 6 steps back. Speak about other clubs. I don't want us to be the crisis club, because we've been that for way too long. Way too long. Mason Mount, of course, could really suit that system as well. No doubt. Yeah, still wish we spent that 60 mil on something else. Sam, what's your prediction for the first game for Amorim? Well, Gabriel, it'll be absolutely pointless me speaking about the first game, because it's in 12 days' time, and we have absolutely no idea what United's shape is going to be like. But I'll give you that probably Thursday next week. There you go. Tune in then. Last couple of minutes of the show. Can you fire in your comments and your questions? I am, of course, excited about what comes next. At the same time, I got burned by Ten Hag, and I was excited about that. It does feel different because of the structure that's in place. The club feels like it's in a different place when Amorim is taking over compared to when Erik Ten Hag came in. The takeover is done. We're working on probably a new stadium. 50 mil investments going into Carrington. Squad is better than when Erik Ten Hag signed. And we've got the football structure in place. Linto, you're saying that you want a squad depth video for Amorim. That's a good video. I'll tell you what, ladies and gents. We have got some top class videos coming out this week. You know how I keep saying the intention is to raise the bar? These videos raise the bar. We have got a deep dive into Amorim's career, exactly what made him at Casa Pia in Portugal, his first club, to Braga, to Sporting, all covered in a deep dive. We've also got a video, mini documentary coming out on Amorim's tactics with loads of really high quality animations in there, which is a big level up. On top of that is a video we're working on in the background, which is going to focus on Amorim's use of the academy at Sporting. What are his success stories? Who actually came through? What went wrong? What lessons can we learn? And what players could he use in United's academy? All those 3 are coming out, so make sure you subscribe if you are new. Aravind saying, what's today's lunchtime video? I'm going to be releasing the deep dive at 6 p.m. All right. So the deep dives and the mini documentaries, I'm probably going to start releasing them at 6 p.m. instead of the regular 12 to 1 p.m. slots, because they're my standard lunchtime videos. These ones that have a lot more investment of time, of money, of research and scripting, going to be releasing those at 6 p.m. instead of 12. So 6 p.m. tonight, get your notifications on. The Amorim deep dive is going to be released. And if there's I'll have a look and see if there's a lunchtime video, but probably not today. All right. Big up to all of you. Thank you all for tuning in. For Nuruddin gifting 50, to Alex gifting 5. I think there was some others as well at the start of the show. Garlic Bread Man and Iron Potato, you're all helping this community keep getting bigger and better. Love you all. Amorim's in. Let's find out what happens next. I'll be here to cover it. Take it easy.